Brought to you by Virtua.
Hi, Steve Adubato. It's my pleasure to introduce our good friend, Carlos Medina, who is the chairman of the New Jersey Statewide Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. Good to see you, Carlos.
Pleasure, Steve.
We are doing this program after you returned from a 3-day trip to Cuba. Describe it.
Never been on Cuban soil, so it was very emotional to be there. Beautiful as described, the people very warm, very engaging, very anxious to have ties again with the United States and with their Cuban American counterparts.
Your family connection there, your dad fled Cuba during the Batista administration, yes, right before Castro came in.
Yeah, my grandfather, I believe, was in the military in the administration that Batista took out, so therefore that's when they fled to the United States.
Now, you were part of a group of about 12, an organized situation, right?
Yes.
Everything was set up. Meetings were scheduled.
Correct.
It was very controlled. What did you really get to see?
We got to see many businesses. We got to see an organic farm that employs 100 employees, privately owned. We visited a large facility where artisans and artists display. There had to be 200 private companies there, artists, individuals that make garments. We went to various restaurants. We went to the Chamber of Commerce. So it was very educational.
You told our producers that people looked relatively happy.
They did, and they were very honest. I mean, many people, when you were in a taxi cab, for example, spoke poorly of Fidel and Raul Castro, which I was surprised. They didn't seem to have any fear in expressing themselves. And some, two taxi cab rides. One, the individual I asked, have you ever visited the United States? He laughed at me. He said, I wouldn't be here if I visited the United States. I would have stayed there. Right. The other individual said, I have a daughter in Tampa. I've been 10 times to the United States. This is my home. I love it. And I travel back and forth. So two very unique perspectives from two people in the same industry.
Now, it's interesting because you've said that we need to do more, that there are real opportunities between Cuba and New Jersey in terms of building up business trade opportunities. Describe it.
Well, the second largest concentration of Cuban Americans are in New Jersey, other than Florida. And because of that cultural bond, they all the individuals I met with in Cuba, they said, we want to do work, with Cuban Americans. You understand us. You're our brothers. You're our sisters. The common phrase was, look, let's let bygones be bygones. We know terrible things happen, but let's move forward.
What do they need from us?
Cuba needs a lot. It needs infrastructure, it needs engineering, it needs construction.
Yes, so
it needs
New Jersey.
Correct.
Cuba needs infrastructure. Our bridges and roads are falling apart. What are we going to give them?
True. We're going to give them expertise, investment, public-private partnerships, which I know you agree would be great for New Jersey, would also be great to work in Cuba to get the roadways and infrastructure. But the tourism, the upside is different than Jersey. I mean, you improve those roads, you bring hotels, there's going to be a lot of money flowing into Cuba just on the tourism market.
What do we get?
What do we get?
Describe what's in it for
opportunities for New Jersey businesses, for engineers, engineers, architects, design opportunities for contractors. Joe Zanzari could be down there building a hotel, building a roadway. Why can't all these great contractors and professionals that are in New Jersey that have a flavor for the Cuban culture because they all have friends, the Cuban community is so large in Jersey, it'll be a natural fit for them to go down to Cuba and work.
So great economic opportunities.
Yes.
So couple sticking points. One, Senator Bob Menendez from Cuba.
Yep.
We interviewed him on public television with his colleague, Cory Booker, right before Senator Menendez had some very well-publicized legal problems. Senator Menendez has been steadfast in his position on Cuba and the fact that he believes that the administration, the Obama administration, is making all the wrong moves in trying to normalize relations. One issue. Second issue. Governor Chris Christie has said, under no circumstances can the state or should the state of New Jersey have any relationship with Cuba, while Cuba has, in his opinion, harbored Joanne Chesimard, who was a convicted killer of a New Jersey State police officer who was never brought to justice. He said, bring her back, let's extradite her for that crime and then we'll talk. You say what? Let bygones be bygones? Because that's an expression you use.
Yeah.
Governor
yeah.
says no way.
Yeah, understood. I'm not a politician. I have the advantage of not having to have constituents or perception. I'm dealing in what's the reality, and what I believe the reality is. You have a Cuban island now that's isolated. Information does not disseminate. It's being blocked. So you open entrepreneurship to these individuals. They're now going to have outside influences.
Sure.
What's going to happen? They're going to have a little money in their pocket. They're going to see what's happening in the United States, and it's going to eventually lead to democracy. Bob Menendez will disagree with me, and that's fine. We're all entitled to our opinion. They want to continue to strangle the economy and continue the embargo. It hasn't worked for 50-something years. I don't think anything's going. What's going to change
But the
now?
Christie argument is not one of politics, but it's one of a moral, ethical issue. You kill a cop, you're convicted of it, you go to Cuba, Cuba harbors you there, you get to change your name to Assata Shakur, and you're held up as a hero there in Cuba, and now we're going to do business.
Yeah.
Christie and a lot of others, particularly cops, say, are you kidding me?
Sure.
That's not about business.
Yeah.
That's about life and death and a cop who was killed.
Sure.
You say...
It's a horrible thing that happened, but I don't know that one circumstance we're going to hang our hat on it, which is, I think, what the governor's doing. I want to talk about many other issues. It is an important one.
If governor says, get past that, let the Cuban government acknowledge that they've been harboring her, and we talk business. You say?
I don't want it to be an impotence to all the other good things that could happen. It is a horrible thing that happened, but there's 11 million people suffering. Am I going to let them continue to suffer because there's a stubbornness on this one point over a horrific crime? I say I want to help the 11 million people that have been suffering for 50 years. I want to help the common Cuban person. I want to see entrepreneurs that live their dream. That's what I want to see. I'm a business chamber. I acknowledge it's a horrible thing. I acknowledge what happened to some of my family who stayed in Cuba during Fidel's time. It was horrible atrocities that were imprisoned. But let's move forward.
You think it's time?
I think it's time.
And you think Raul Castro any different?
I'm sorry?
You think Raul Castro any different than his brother?
I think somewhat. As soon as he came in, there were more communications with the outside world, definitely.
And his visit with the Pope just the other day,
yeah,
fascinating, saying he may go to church after he excoriated the Catholic Church. I mean, it's fascinating.
It is.
Possibilities exist.
I believe there's a lot of opportunities. And part of it is they need us. I'm not going to, Bob Menendez will say suddenly they need us and now they're at the table. You know, let's continue to put that pressure. I'm more of the opinion, let's extend an olive branch and let's try to work and respect each other.
Carlos Medina, you've given us a lot to think about. This issue's not going away. Carlos Medina, chairman of the New Jersey Statewide Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. Thank you so much for joining us, my friend.
Steve.
You got it.
At Virtua, we don't cut the quad tendon for knee replacement, so you don't have to cut anything you love to do. It's what we don't cut that counts. The Virtua Joint Replacement Institute. Visit GotMyLifeBack.org today.
The preceding program has been a production of the Caucus Educational Corporation. Also brought to you by New Jersey Sharing Network, the New Jersey Education Association, and by NJ Best, New Jersey's 529 College Savings Plan.